is a photograph of Stonehenge that I took on actually my 50th birthday. So I was very excited. That was a highlight of my birthday trip, was to see Stonehenge. And I'm going to approach this painting with mostly direct painting and lifting, but I will start with a little masking. I would like to put in the sky first, and so I'd like to mask a few clouds. And because of the blue tones of the sky, I'm going to mask the light faces of the stones. This is the initial drawing, and while it's fairly detailed on the stones, I didn't put in anything for the sky. So I'm just going to use some masking fluid and just dab in some kind of cloud highlights. I'm also masking the front faces, the sunny faces of the stones. And we'll let that dry. The masking fluid is now dry, and I'm going to add the wash for the sky. And I'm just going to go with a simple sailboat blue and alcohol wash. I'm going to start with kind of a layer of alcohol through this lighter part here. And drop some sailboat in. Got these strong bands here. I think I'd like to remove them. This is a cotton swab. I'm just going to come and pull off that ink. And the same over here. And I'll let it dry vertically. Our background sky is dry, and I'm going to just pull off the masking fluid. And with the masking fluid off, it even looks like Stonehenge. So it's always nice when a picture looks like what it's supposed to from the beginning. So for the clouds, I'm going to lift with regular alcohol for a little bit and pull out many of these banks. And then we'll see if I want to soften it with that water alcohol mixture. But we'll start with the 91%. And our sky is considerably lighter toward the horizon. And now I'm going to just kind of try to make some of these spots a little bit lighter. And now I'll look at this mixture, and we'll see. So while I was trying to add some alcohol to the water and alcohol mixture, I ended up putting a big blob on the paper. And one down here, but we can't see that one. So we have a new sky pattern happening here, which of course is probably no problem. We'll just blend it in, maybe make one over here, and maybe just add a little more here. So I'm going to continue with this mixture I just made. And this is a pretty good mixture. I add a little more alcohol to it, and I'm getting a nice soft blend. And I'm just going to continue kind of rubbing, scraping, blending, making clouds. I'm just going to come kind of evenly across the top. Oh, that was the regular alcohol. You can see the difference. The regular alcohol just really went, woo, and pulled off quite a bit of stuff. And I intended to use this water and alcohol mixture, so I will come back through, and I just wanted to kind of come all the way up to a kind of a line in case I needed to figure out where to crop the picture. I think before hitting the stones, I'm going to add the grass. And I'm starting with Meadow, and I'm popping it on this makeup sponge. And I'm just going to pounce it on. I put some of the Meadow in the Weld palette, and I'm just going to kind of do some brushing of it. And I think I'll just pop in a little bit more color. A little bit more in this front area. I think I'm just going to use this kind of gray marker and just color in some of the darker sides of it. I'd like to have several colors in it, but we need a color to start with. This is kind of a warmer tan. I'm going to use it to pop in the light side of the rocks. This is a darker gray, and we'll add in more of the darker darks. I'm going to switch to the brush and eggplant, and I just got a little dot there. Let me get that off. There we go. I'm going to use the eggplant as a way of blending our different colors of gray on the rocks. I'm going to do some lifting now with the pointy swab and the alcohol. These rock faces are actually pretty light. There's actually some kind of more gray parts to this rock. I'm just going to grab some of the ink from the other side and dab it across here. I like to do a little splattering. I'd like it more in the grass and less in the sky. And try to be very, very little about it. So little that I got nothing. Okay, I think we have successfully gotten a little bit of splattering on here. This is kind of a brownish gray, and I'd like to introduce another color. So I'm just going to dab it in for some of the texture and just areas where I think that this color would be useful. I'm going back to this very dark color, and seeking out some of our darkest areas. We also have a back hill line, which I think will anchor the piece a little bit. I'm going to go back and soften this. I'd like to add some texture to the grass, but I really don't want to mess with anything up here. So I'm going to kind of cover over that. And I happen to have a chip brush that's kind of green. And I've got some bottle here. This is some alcohol. Some of these dots are bigger than I wanted, so I'm just going to run some texture through them. Use the cotton swab and alcohol and blend in this back hill line. And I'm going to blend in the shadow. So going to softly blend our dark spots. And some of the lighter spots as well. So I'm finding our green splatters really a little distracting. So this is back to the makeup sponge and some meadow. And I'm just going to go all over this. I've got some citrus here, and I'm going to add it into some of the lighter parts of the lawn. I'm always amazed in ink painting how much work it is to paint something that you really just want to be nondescript and not really show up. It seems like almost as much work goes into those as the actual subjects. Now I need to find my lost rocks. There's one here. And one here. I need to put in their shadow sides. And I'm just blending with the cotton swab and alcohol. I'll just pull out a few more highlights. I'm going to go take a scan of it and take a look at it and see what else I need to do. I would say I'm done, but I know that I'm really not. So I took a scan of it, and scanning is always interesting. It always makes things look either dramatically better than they really are or dramatically worse. And this is on the worst side. So one of the things I noticed is that the pencil lines are really noticeable in the scan. I don't really see them looking at it from here, but the scanner does. So I'm going to erase them. Another thing is that I'd like to bring this citrus down all the way. And for my texture, I'm just going to use the regular cotton swab and some alcohol and just kind of dab through. The other thing the scan told me is that these are reading white. So this is that very first marker that I started to put some of this in. So at least got a little bit of warm tones to it. This is a equivalently dark, but I think a slightly browner dark gray. I'm going to use it to blend a little bit. And I'm going to try the water alcohol mixture and see if I can get a softer blend of these colors. I don't really want to pull it off, I just want it to blend in nicely. I also decided I think I'd like a slightly smoother look in the sky. So this is the 91% alcohol. This is the kind of fluffier one. Just kind of smooth through some of these passages. And I think one of the last things I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a little bit of texture to the grass. Add just a little splattering to the grass. So the next scan was very unimpressed with these marks. They came out like completely as marker marks. And so it was quite grumpy about it. Really showed them up. It also really changed the color of the sky to kind of like a green, and it's a little frustrating. So we're just going to soften a bunch of this. So the problem is the piece is looking terrible in the scanner and not great in the camera either. It's really, a lot of the lines which are really giving us that nice contrast are kind of picking up as being just kind of clunky. So I think it's time to take more risk and do something to kind of just break up these lines which I'm just picking up. So this is more alcohol. I've, conservatively kept it down here. Now I'm just going to put it all over the place. And I'll let that dry for a minute and then come back and tweak it. This is some mushroom. I'm going to use it to kind of add a little more color to some of the light faces. This is a cotton swab and alcohol, and got a jumping part of the rock here. It's not supposed to be like that. And we'll do a little lifting. Also going to clean up the rocks a little bit with the micron pen.